Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Katarina and today we'll go through an upper body focused flow. So if you have any tightness around your shoulders and perhaps your upper back, this flow is probably a nice one for you. We'll start on all fours. So you can bring your hands right under the shoulders, knees can stay under the hips, and start by really grounding through your hands towards the earth, towards your mat. Feeling all the knuckles, the tips of the fingers grounding down as you start to settle here. You can close your eyes if you like to as we start to move through cat-cow. So as you inhale, you can drop through the heart, lift through the chin and the sitting bones. And as you exhale, start to draw your front body towards the back body, pushing the mat away from you, chin to chest. And inhale, lift to open. And exhale. And right away, if you like, you can start to move with your own breath. If your breath is a little bit quicker or a little bit slower than mine, you can ignore my cues and just start to feel into the body and into your breath. Moving into the inhales, into cow pose, and into the exhales, into a cat. Starting to feel the vertebrae of the spine, the movement in the shoulders, the neck, maybe all the way through to the hips. We'll take one final inhale. And then as we exhale, you can tuck your toes under and sit back towards a child's pose. From here, we inhale, lift up, curling through the spine. And then as you exhale, sit back down into a child's pose. And again, inhale, moving up, round through the spine. And exhale. Allow the sitting bones to guide you towards the heels. Well done. We'll move forward once again. Inhale, move your weight forward. Now stopping here, we bend through the elbows. Your chin and your chest meet the mat, and you can slide your hips back. Inhale into a cobra. Open up through the chest, pull the shoulders back. And exhale, lower back down. Now opening your hands a little bit wider, the fingertips come off the mat. Inhale into a cobra here. Pull the shoulders back and down. Exhale. Well done. Keep the tops of your feet on the mat and reach your hands all the way to the lower back. See if you can interlace them there. And then from here we start to inhale, lift up through the chest, pull back through the shoulders. Beautiful. And then release back down. Hands come back under the shoulders. We push back onto hands and knees and come into a child's pose again. Good. Inhale, move forward. And then exhale back into a child's pose. Good. Inhale, move forward again. Round through the spine. Push the mat away from you. And sit back down. We'll do that once more. Inhale, move your weight forward. And as we reach the top of the mat, we bend through the elbows. The chin and the chest meet the mat. Push your hips back. Inhale into a regular cobra. And exhale back down. Then hands come into that slightly wider position. Inhale, up. And exhale down. Then hands come all the way to the lower back. Interlace them. And lift up. You can keep the tops of the feet on the mat. And then release back down. Hands come under the shoulders. Push back onto hands and knees. And this time we'll bring our weight so that the hips are over the knees and start to walk our hands forward towards the top of the mat. Finding a puppy pose, Anahatasana. Melting the heart towards the mat, either resting your forehead on the mat, or if you're feeling quite mobile in the upper back and the neck, you can also lift your gaze up, resting the chin on the mat. See if you can soften for a few more exhales. Releasing through the shoulders. And then you can start to walk your hands back under the shoulders. You can bring your knees in just a little bit. Find your way all the way onto your bum. And reach your right leg forward. The left knee can be bent with the left foot towards the right inner thigh. We'll bring our right hand all the way over to the left knee and then reach your left arm over. So finding a bit of a twist here, a side bend, and a forward fold for the leg too. Beautiful. See if you can reach the left fingertips towards the toes. Take an inhale. And then find your way back to center, grounding the left hand onto the mat behind you. Reach the hips up and forward. The right arm reaches over, coming into a gentle back bend, opening through the chest. Beautiful. Take an inhale. And then exhale, sit back down. We'll lift the left knee all the way up. Right toes point up at this point. We're going to start to reach our left hand all the way in front of the left shin, and then maybe bring your right hand behind the back and perhaps the hands meet. If they don't, that's completely fine. You can also have the hands reaching for each other even if they don't meet. And we stay here in a forward fold. We're going to take an inhale, lengthening through the spine, and then exhale, fold over. And again, inhale. And exhale. Well done. Then you can release the bind and we'll switch the legs around. Left leg forward. Right knee bends, foot into the inner thigh. You can bring your left hand over to the right knee. Reach the right arm up and over. Perhaps you grab a hold of the toes, but no need to. Main thing is that the right side of the body is reaching up, left side down. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, come back through center, right hand grounds. We push the hips up into that gentle back bend. Allow the chest to open. Left arm releases up and over. Inhale here. And then exhale, sit back down. Now we lift the right knee all the way up. Left toes pointing up too. And then start to reach that right arm all the way forward in front of the shin. And if at this point of the practice you feel like your shoulders are still a little bit tight, don't start to force the bind, but see if naturally you can bring your hands to meet. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Still keeping the stretch gentle. Coming into that forward fold, we inhale, lengthen, and fold over. And another one, inhale, and exhale. Good. Then coming all the way up, we release the leg, the bind. You can cross your ankles, come all the way onto all fours. And from here, tucking your toes under, we lift the hips up into a downward facing dog. Now finding a bit of movement here as we find our first down dog of this practice. We move the sitting bones towards the sky, towards the ceiling, finding length in the spine. Keep actively pushing the mat away from you. And maybe the heels start to move towards the mat. Once again, they don't need to meet the mat, but see if you can start to find a little bit of that movement in the legs. As a bend in the knees, always welcome. Beautiful. Take an inhale and release through the mouth as you exhale. We'll ground the left hand down and reach the right hand towards the left ankle or the toes. Just finding a bit of a twist here. Good. And release. We switch sides, right hand down. Left hand reaches for the right ankle. Beautiful. And release back to center. From here, the right leg reaches up as we next inhale. And then as you exhale, hug the right knee forward. Move your weight forward and step the foot forward. Right knee comes down as we reach up through the arms. And as you exhale, cactus open through the arms. The hips might be sinking a little bit lower. See if you can square through the hips. So right hip moves back, left forward. A slight back bend. Heart opener, keeping the chest really wide and open. Good. With your next inhale, reach your arms up and over. And then we're going to drop the right hand, bend at the elbow, and bring it all the way to the back. Then we'll bend through the left elbow too and see if you can find a bind here. Once again, doesn't matter if you don't. You can just have the fingertips reaching for each other. We'll then start to move our weight back and see if you can find balance here, pointing the right toes towards the ceiling and finding a forward fold with the spine really long. Maybe the fingers meet for a bind. And breathe. Take an inhale. And then as we exhale, we bend through the right knee again. Now tucking the left toes under, we lift all the way up into a high lunge position. See if you can open through the chest, lifting up through the left elbow, gazing up too. Beautiful. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, you can release the arms, finding a pyramid pose, folding over the front leg. Take an inhale, lengthen through the spine, and fold over. Now we bend at the left knee. You can bring the left foot a little bit closer and roll the spine all the way up. Opening your arms out to the sides, we'll internally rotate them and then bring the palms to meet behind the back. So perhaps finding a reverse namaste position for the hands. Or if that feels difficult, you can also grab opposite elbows. See which feels better. Take an inhale, lengthen through the spine. If your palms are pressed against each other, see if you can really press them together. And then as we exhale, we fold over, but only so much that the spine stays long and the hips remain squared. Keep pressing the palms against each other. Beautiful. Take one more inhale. And then as we exhale, we release the hands down onto the mat, step into a plank pose, going through a vinyasa, either with the knees down or lifted, lower, upward facing dog or cobra, and downward facing dog. Good job. Take a full breath in and out. Then with our next inhale, we reach the left leg up behind us and hug the knee forward, move your weight forward. Stepping down, right knee comes onto the mat, reaching up through the arms, inhale. And then as we exhale, cactus the arms, elbows moving to the sides. Open up through the chest, see if you can square through the hips. And staying with your breath. With the next inhale, we reach our arms all the way up and then drop the left hand down, bend at the elbow and bring the palm all the way to the back. Palm facing out. Then the right elbow bends and perhaps you bring the fingertips to meet. Well done. When you're ready, you can start to move your weight back. Left toes point towards the ceiling and we come into that forward fold. Good. See if you can still keep your chest open. The right elbow pointing as high as possible. And keep breathing. It's a challenging posture. Take an inhale. And then we move forward again. The right toes tuck. And then we lift all the way up into a high lunge. Well done. Keep pressing the right heel back. Right elbow up. Opening through the chest. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, release the hands, melt over the left leg, straightening it out. Take an inhale, lengthen through the spine, looking forward. Exhale, fold over. We'll bring the right foot a little bit closer and then roll the spine all the way up. Arms open out to the sides, internally rotate and bring them behind the back. Remember, you can also grab opposite elbows if you like, or then the palms meet. Inhale, length. And then exhale. Start to find that forward fold. Remembering to keep the spine long, all the way from the sitting bones to the crown of the head. Palms pressing against each other as much as you can. And squaring through the hips. Take an inhale. And then exhale. Release your hands onto the mat. Step back into a plank pose and we'll go through a vinyasa. Upward facing dog or cobra. And downward facing dog. Beautiful. Take a full breath in. And out. We'll then come all the way up onto the tiptoes. Exhale, bend through the knees, and we'll find a Malasana. Whether it's hopping or stepping towards the front of the mat. Find length in the spine first. Dropping the hips down. Long lower back. Open through the chest. Push the knees away from you through the elbows. Beautiful. We inhale deep. And then as we exhale, we drop our left hand onto the mat or the floor, and the right arm reaches up, opening up through the chest, finding a gentle twist here. So if you can still keep your right knee pointing towards the toes, so now using your leg muscles to keep the knee there. And then we start to internally rotate the right arm, and perhaps you start to bring your left tricep really close to the left thigh and the calf, and maybe start to find a bind here too. Perhaps your fingertips come to meet behind that left leg. So you can keep the chest really open. Opening up through the right shoulder, rolling it back, and then you can gaze up. Take an inhale. And we undo the twist, undo the bind. You can find your way to center for a breath. Beautiful. Then we release the right hand onto the mat. First, the left arm reaches up, opening up through the chest. Then you can start to internally rotate the arm, bring it all the way to the lower back towards the thigh, and then really lock the right tricep close to the thigh and the calf, and see if you can start to bring the fingertips to meet. This is quite an intense stretch. And once again, I remind you, it does not matter if your hands don't come to meet. The stretch is there anyway. It's all about the process. So if you can lift your gaze up, roll the left shoulder back for one more inhale. And then we release. You can come back to center, hands at heart center. Take one more inhale. And then as you exhale, bring your fingertips onto the mat, tilt over into a forward fold. Good. Take an inhale, lengthen. And exhale, fold over. We then bring our hands all the way to the lower back, interlace them there. See if you can bring a slight bend into the knees and allow the arms to start to drape over. You can release your head, release the muscles of the neck. Allow the weight of the arms to start to guide them further into this stretch. The upper body, the chest, the belly can meet your thighs, almost resting on them. Take a full breath, and then open the mouth, sigh the air out. You can release your hands. Once more, we lengthen as we inhale. Plant your hands onto the mat, step into a plank pose. We're finding our way onto the mat, so you can bring your knees down and lower the whole body onto the mat. We'll extend our left arm out to the side. Right hand under the right shoulder, bending the right knee towards the glute. And then we start to roll over onto our left side. So coming into a broken wing, keeping the left hand level with the left shoulder, palm facing down. And then you can start to release through the hip, allowing it to wander as far back as feels good. The weight of that hip is going to help you go deeper into the pose. So feeling into it, returning to your breath to gain that presence in your body in this pose. It's the breath that really helps us gain information about the poses that we enter. We'll take one more inhale here. And then start to return onto your stomach. Beautiful. We'll take one cobra, hands under the shoulders. Peel the chest up and exhale back down. And then moving on to the other side, the right arm reaches out, shoulder height, bend through the left knee, and then start to turn on to your right side. So the left foot can ground down behind the right leg. And then see how deep you want to go. How far do you want to release through the hips? And then settle into stillness here for a few breaths. Coming into that present place in your body. And then with your next exhale, you can roll back onto your stomach, hands under the shoulders. We'll take one final cobra. Inhale. Exhale, release back down. We push back onto hands and knees. You can gather your knees under and then sit back over the heels. Resting your hands on your thighs or on your lap. Close the eyes for a moment. Finding a comfortable seat. The spine is long. The body is relaxed. Shoulders drop down. And see if you can notice all the things that you're feeling that are fleeting through your mind. Just observing whatever is happening in this moment. All the small twitchies and nuances. The small sensations in the body. The thoughts that flutter through your mind. Just acting as an observer. And it's through that practice of observing a little bit more and reacting a little bit less, reacting less quickly, that we can start to create a calmer, more peaceful, often a little bit more enjoyable life for us and all the people around us. The entire world, this planet that we live on. So let's cultivate a little bit of that through this practice. When you feel ready, you can bring your hands to heart center, expressing gratitude. And then bowing your head towards your hands. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice. I hope this week's flow was enjoyable. I for sure feel a little bit more open in my shoulders, upper back, those regions that we worked on. Like I always remind you, I post weekly flows, so I'm here every Thursday. So if you enjoy my flows, please do subscribe to the channel so you get notified when I post a new yoga practice. I'm so grateful for all of you here doing yoga with me, and I really hope to see you here next week too. Thank you.